Oh, Mickey, I'm here.
Oh,
I'm so
about
sorry.
time.
What's the time?
I don't have a watch.
I do though. I'm quite late.
Oh,
Oh
well,
man,
how
I
unusual.
really dislike the time and having to keep time.
I know.
You know what? I have an idea. I'm just gonna get rid of this watch, and then it'll get rid of time. Do you reckon?
You're gonna get rid of
Yeah.
time itself.
I'm gonna put this watch in this bag and get rid of it. You want to see?
I am
put it in the bag.
curious, very curious, because I would also like to get rid of time because I am also very late most of the time.
It's gone. No more watch.
How
Did that seem impossible to you?
did you do that? Where did the watch go?
It's gone. Got rid of time.
That seems like super impossible, Cal. How did you do that? That's crazy. Well, today on The Link, we are going to be learning about a man who also did something that seemed impossible. So, sit back, relax, and get ready for the show!
Yo, I'm Cal, this is Mickey, and you're watching The Link! Would you like to know how I did this? You might be starting to clue on to how, in fact, I did the mysterious disappearing watch. This is the bag that I threw away, and my watch isn't actually gone, it's still here. Let me show you.
You told me it was gone.
The secret. Here is an ordinary paper bag. In fact, it's not ordinary. Inside, I don't know if you can see that. There is a tiny little pocket that I've added. So if you'd like to make one of these, it's real simple. All you need is a paper bag. You need actually 2 paper bags that are identical. Cut the top off one of them.
I thought a magician never told his tricks.
I'm not a magician, am I?
Well, then it's fine.
Cut the top. You want the bottom of a paper bag, and you're going to make a mini paper bag. So cut it in thirds or in half, like that. And then you've made this little pocket. Stick some sticky tape down the side. Put it inside your bag. Match up the tops. Put some sticky tape in there. Stick it in. And then you're ready to do the trick. Hey, Mickey, I'm going to make my watch disappear.
No way!
I placed my watch into the bag. Into the little bag that's inside the bag. So it sits right there. Snuggly wuggly. And then blow up the bag. And poof! Throw away the rubbish before they ask questions.
Well, that's pretty cool. It seemed impossible at first, but it totally makes sense now that you show me how you did it. But before we get going too much, let's stop and talk to God.
Yes, he's such a great God, and today we get to learn all about him, and we're going to see what he did back in the Bible in a story. But you know, the cool thing is, the God from the Bible is still the same God today, and we can talk to him whenever we like.
That's so amazing. So, wherever you are, let's bow our heads and fold our hands and let's pray to God. All right. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you that we can be here today and learn more about you. Thank you that it's Sabbath and we can have a break from all of the craziness of the week. Lord, I pray that you give us great minds to listen and really absorb what we're going to learn today. And I pray that you just help us have a really good day, help the weather to be nice, and thank you for your love and that we can always trust you no matter what. In your holy name, amen.
Amen. Becky!
Yes.
Under this mysterious looking blanket are 3 objects.
Okay.
The aim of this game, I've just turned it into a game. The aim of this game is for you to try and work out what the 3 are. Here are the rules though. I'm not going to tell you what they are.
Okay.
You can't look under the blanket. You can feel on top.
Okay.
And you can ask yes/no questions.
Okay. Right.
You got that?
Right. Okay, so there are
No
3
peeking.
objects.
3, separate objects under here somewhere. Take it away.
Right, okay. So, are any of them edible?
No.
Okay. I don't even know where they are. Okay, so, are any of them playable? Like, can you play with them? Like,
Technically, you can play with them all. One of them you can definitely play with. One of them you can play with, but you shouldn't play with.
Oh.
That's the clue.
Okay.
You can play with one of the objects.
So is any of them breakable?
They're all breakable. Two of them are much more breakable than the other one. I'll say two of them are breakable.
Okay. I feel like this thing in the middle is one object.
Is that a question?
No, that's just a statement.
It could be a question.
That's a statement.
You should make it a question.
Is this one object?
Yes! Ooh, now we're getting somewhere.
Okay, so I can put something in the middle, I'm sure. Would I put...
So it's hollow inside,
It's
is that what
hollow
you're saying?
inside, yeah.
I cannot confirm or deny because that wasn't a question.
Is it hollow inside?
Yep.
Could I put food in it? Is that what it's for?
You could, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay, so it's not for food.
Not for food.
Could I put toys in it?
Yes, but no.
Okay. Could I put a plant in it?
You sure could put a plant in it.
Is it a terracotta pot?
Ding, ding, ding!
Ah!
You got the first item.
It was
Ooh,
that
it's
little.
very dirty.
It was that little lip bit that I
that
got.
solitude. Very good.
Yes.
Terracotta pot, number one.
This is such a weird object. Okay, does it... It's so hard to feel in between this. I don't know what's the blanket and what's the object. Okay, it's hard. That's a
Is that a
statement.
question?
It's a statement. It's hard.
Well,
I
does
can
it
tell.
have soft bits on it?
Okay, does this have soft bits on it?
No, it is completely solid.
Is this all one material?
It's all one material, that's what I mean, yes.
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
yeah, cool. Is it metal?
Yes, actually.
Oh, okay, cool. So it's not wood. Okay, I'm guessing this circle thing at the end. I'm guessing. Oh, it's got a. Is it like a tuba? Is it like a French horn? No, French horns are round.
They're very
Is it
big.
like a trumpet?
Ding, ding, ding. I'll give it to you. It's actually technically called a cornet,
Oh!
but it is indeed a trumpet. Should we give it a play?
I think you
I
should.
don't know how to play the cornet. I'll stick with my day job.
Yep, stick with your day job here on the link.
One more item underneath
I'm guessing
this
it's
blanket.
here.
Have you found it?
Is that it?
That is it.
Yes.
It's quite small compared to these other ones.
Okay, is it... like-
Perhaps some ask them where would you use this
Where-
questions.
But that's not yes or no. Oh, right. Would I use this... Would I use this in the kitchen?
Sometimes.
Oh.
That wasn't yes or no, but sometimes is the answer.
Would I use this in the bathroom?
Some people do.
Okay. Would I use this in the garden?
No.
Okay. Would I use this in the lounge room?
Some people might.
Would I have no idea what this is.
Do you want a clue?
I want a clue.
See if you can give it a shake.
Oh, is it a box of paper clips?
I
I don't know why you use them in the bathroom. Is it matches?
It is matches.
Matches!
And I meant if you've got candles in your lounge room or your bathroom, that might be
Where you use them. Okay, there
We've
you
got
go.
candles. We've got matches, a pot, and a trumpet. You know what? These are all very random items.
Very
but
random items.
They've all got something in common.
Okay.
And we're going to find out how they're all connected in a story.
You know, all these items, they're pretty random, but I'm beginning to think that maybe they have something in common.
Mm-hmm,
Do
they
they?
sure do.
I think they are to do with the story of my friend Dion.
I do not know who your friend Dion is,
You
but
don't?
they are a story about a man named Dion. Well, that's not completely true. His full name is actually Gideon.
Gideon.
And you may have heard of him. And now some of these things might begin to make some sense to some of you if you've heard of the story before. But this story starts with Dion, or Gideon, you can choose what you like to call him. It starts with him in a pit, in a big hole in the ground. He was a farmer, back in the Bible, he was also an Israelite.
He totally was. But did you know, back in these days, the Israelites had these enemies that were super mean to them. And if the Israelites even tried to plant their crops for food, the enemy would come and like shoot arrows or try and destroy them somehow or take them and kidnap them. It was terrible. So they were running out of food and all of the Israelites were super scared and they seemed to forget that God was looking after them. But Gideon, what was he doing in a pit? Well, good question. He was threshing wheat, as you do.
So threshing wheat is where a farmer will separate the wheat into the bits that are good to eat and the bits that aren't good to eat, pretty much. And normally you just do that out in the field or out in the shed or in the barn. But Gideon was hiding. He was hiding in the pit and he was working down there in the pit. All of a sudden, a stranger leaned over the edge. It gave Gideon quite a fright.
Will you give me a fright?
The stranger said to Gideon, Gideon, you are a mighty hero. What a bit of a weird thing for him to say.
Did Gideon know this guy?
No, he was a complete stranger. And the stranger continued and talked to Gideon and told him how he would rescue Israel from the Midianites.
That's craziness.
Sure is.
Well, and quite the encounter, man. Well, let's skip ahead in the story a little bit. So if you want to read this story, it is in Judges 6 and 7 in the Bible, so give it a whirl when you can. But Gideon needed help. So he called together a massive, huge army as big as he could get full of Israelite people. It was like about 32,000 men signed up, which is pretty amazing.
That's quite a lot.
Quite a lot of people. I don't know 32,000 people. But that's heaps of people. But not compared to the Midianite army. They had 135,000 soldiers. So
wow.
Gideon had 32,000. Oh my goodness, the Midianites had over 100,000 more soldiers.
Wow, that's so many. That's such a big army.
Massive army.
There was a problem.
What was the problem?
There was a big problem. Well, not a big. Well, there was a problem. God spoke to Gideon and said, Gideon, you actually have too many people in your army.
What?
What? Too many people? He had not many at all compared to his enemy, the Midianites. God said, no, you've got too many people. So Gideon called all the men together and said, look, if you are a bit scared, if you don't really want to be in the battle with us, that's actually quite fine. You can go home now. And guess what? 22,000 people went home. They didn't want to. They didn't want to be in there.
That leaves him with only like
do some maths. 32,000 minus 22,000.
That's only 10,000.
That's only 10,000
for 135,000
that's
enemy
10
soldiers.
times more in the enemy than in Gideon's army. And guess what?
What?
God talked again to Gideon and said, Gideon, you've actually still got too many men.
No way.
What?
How are they going to fight that army with only 10,000 soldiers?
Exactly right. Well, that's too many. So what Gideon did was he called the men together and God told him, take them down to the river and ask them to have a drink and just watch them as they drink. It's a bit of a weird thing. So they did that and all the men lined on the bank of the river and they drank water and some of them slurped the water up straight from their mouths and others scooped it and drank it out of their hands. And God said, the men who slurped it out with their tongues out of the river, they can go home. Only keep the men who drank from their hands. And Gideon did just that. Guess what? Guess how many men drank from their hands?
How many?
Not 30,000, well, there's only 10,000 to start with.
Wasn't it like 9,700?
Not 9, nope, less. 300. Gideon was left with 300 men to fight 135,000 Midianites. How crazy is that?
300 men.
300. That's it.
Only 300 men. 300 to fight 135,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Like 135,000 people. That's like as many people as there are in Karimbong.
Yeah,
maybe.
Sure.
Maybe there's more.
I
I don't know.
Not quite sure about that.
I don't know the census. But there's a lot of... That just blows my mind.
Well, Mickey, this is the part of the story where these items, these mysterious items,
Surely God
the
knew
trumpet,
what he was doing.
the pot, and the matches, they come into play.
Okay.
Not only did it seem impossible already, because there was only 300 men,
Yeah.
but God asked Gideon to use some tools. Now, normally, if you're going to battle, what tools would you take?
A sword,
Sword,
shield.
a shield, at
Basically
least
like the armor
some
of God we learnt about a few weeks
Episodes ago, that's it. You take that armor. God said, Nope. You're going to take some extra things. You're going to take a trumpet each,
What are you going to do with the trumpet?
a clay pot, and not some matches, but a torch. Now, back then, a torch wasn't like a flashlight like we have now with batteries in it. It was some wood with some fuel on there that you'd actually light on fire. So it was like a fire torch. And God said, those are the things that you'll take to battle.
So is this to like throw clay pots at them and hit them over the head with trumpets?
Well, what God asked them to do was this. They said, this one's got some dirt in it, but that's all right. He said, take your pot, take your torch. So imagine this is on fire. Now I've got a torch on fire. Cover your fire with the pot, right? So you're walking like this. Take your trumpet in your other hand, and then you're going to split up, and you're going to surround the Midianites' camp. So they did that. They snuck. This was at night time. They snuck in the dark. They hid there. Now, because their torches were covered by the pots, you couldn't actually see them. They were in the dark. They were being sneaky. And then when Gideon gave the word, you know what they did?
What?
They smashed their pots. I'm not going to smash this one. They smashed their pots, which meant the torches suddenly were revealed. And then they played their trumpets. Probably better than I did. They played their trumpets so loud, and the Midianites, who were fast asleep in bed, they woke up and they looked out of their tents and they saw torches everywhere that suddenly appeared. They heard pots smashing everywhere. They heard trumpets blowing, and they thought a giant army was attacking them, and they got so scared and so confused that they all ran away, and they started fighting each other. And
They started fighting each other.
Yep. And
Wow.
God used Gideon and his
Only
small
300
army of
men.
300 men to fight off all of the Midianites.
That's pretty crazy. God used 300 men, and then the Midianites just fought themselves. And
That's
the men
it.
just watched. And they were
That's
probably
it.
sitting up there on the mountain like, haha, we don't have to do anything.
That's it. It
Wow.
seemed so impossible, didn't it?
It's completely impossible.
But you know, Gideon trusted God and they were victorious.
Wow, there's truly nothing impossible with God. It's not lunchtime, it is...
I can see it right behind me. It's the wheel of something time.
Wheel of something time!
Maggie, give it a twirl.
A twirl,
A
twirl,
swirl.
twirl.
I don't like that verb. One day I'll think of a good one. A spin. Give it a spin. Alrighty.
It's blue and it says...
What does it say, Mick?
Feed the linker.
Alrighty. Feed the linker. The linker, which is me, is going to be fed by the other linker. Yes. Alright, here we go. Oh, lovely. Some baked beans. I'll... Would you like to grab me a Mick? I'm just going to grab a serviette. Oh, there's some baked beans there. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's it. That didn't really do much, but... Alright, here we go. Here's some... This has been Wheel of Something.
Feed the linker edition.
Wave goodbye. Mickey, I
Yes.
have here a piece of paper.
You do.
And with this piece of paper, I have a challenge for you.
Okay.
This is the challenge. Can you fit through this piece of paper? That's the challenge.
Okay.
Can you get through the piece of paper? And you actually have to go through, so you're gonna have to make some type of hole or something to fit that paper around you.
Okay.
Let's see how she does, everyone. See if you can do this at home. Get a piece of paper, just an A4 piece of paper, and see if you can fit through it. If you're small enough, maybe you could. Let's see. She's got one arm through. Can you get your head?
My
Can you get your head
arm
through?
is me,
Can
so
you-
I fit through it.
Can you put both arms in? You got to see if you can get it around your head and all the way down your body. Are you ready?
Okay, so my
Go.
arms went through. That's
Yep.
good, yeah. Oh, cool, my head's gone through.
Can you put your shoulders? You need to go all at once.
Oh,
You ripped it.
I can't do it.
Meh.
I'm not.
It can't
I'm
be
too
done, you
big.
say.
If you asked me maybe 17 years ago, I could have done it.
It's impossible, yes?
Yes.
It is impossible. Or it seems impossible, but it's not. It's not impossible if you have the right plan.
Okay.
Let me show you how it can be done. You can try this at home too. You'll need a piece of A4 paper, fold it in half long ways, just like that. Grab some scissors, and you're going to cut the folded edges up the top. You're going to cut a bunch of snips down it like
Bunch of snips.
so.
You heard it here
Snip,
first.
snip, snip. All right, just doing the last snip here. Now, once you've got a row of cuts like so, turn it round the other way, and you're going to miss the first one, but on the second one, you're going to cut in between the snips that you did before. Just like so. I don't know if you can see that. And we're going to go
making
along.
a mess, to be honest.
It does seem a bit messy, but we're going to go along the entire row like that. Not going right to the end so it cuts off, but almost to the end. Alrighty. We've finished and we've made a long slinky looking chain. There's one step left. If you open up the end where you started, you'll notice that there are some joins. You're going to need to cut those joins. Make sure you don't cut the first join, otherwise you'll end up with a big long paper chain of mess. But you need to go through now and cut all of those joins. Alright, I've cut the second last link there. Don't cut the last one, otherwise you'll end up with a big mess. Now look at this. Open it up. Not one, but two people. I'm sure you can fit even more. So you can fit your whole family in this.
Whoa!
Fit inside the piece of paper, just like that. You thought it was impossible, but with the right plan, it was not. And that reminds me of the story of Gideon.
Yeah, it really does, because that's so true, because Gideon thought it was impossible. He thought he could not defeat the Midianites with 300 people.
With him, a farmer, with
Yeah.
300 people, and with those weird tools.
But God had a plan. He had the right plan, and that's how they survived and got through.
Exactly right. Now, there might be some things in your life that you feel are a bit impossible at the moment. Maybe you're feeling lonely, like you've got no friends or no one really cares about you. Maybe school's really tricky at the moment. Or maybe some people are fighting or you're feeling sad. There are lots of things that feel quite impossible. But you know what? We can learn to trust God and trust that He has a plan for us, just like this paper and just like Gideon.
So, no matter what happens, God is always on our side and He always has a plan, even when we don't understand it. Gideon had no idea what God was doing, but he trusted in God and everything worked out way better than Gideon ever could have imagined. So, this week, I encourage you, let's try and trust God with everything we have, even when it doesn't make sense. Welcome back to the Memory Boat Shelf.
The memory boat shelf. The shelf of...
Memories.
The boat shelf of memories.
And boats.
Let's see.
What's on our memory
What
boat
is on the
shelf?
memory boat shelves, other than the beautiful exit sign and our dancing
And
friend
our
down,
dancing friend.
down the bottom. We have, the trusty victory trophy.
The victory trophy.
That's from a while back, isn't
It's
it?
a while back
Back
now.
from our first series, all about victory, episode
is
1
for
to
victory.
5. I remember that rap. We had so much fun. Check out those videos if you've forgotten how much fun we had. And we learned all about victory and how God helps us to be victorious.
And this balloon here in the middle, Cal, from last week. Do you remember what that was all about?
Yes, we played with some balloons last time, rubbed them on our heads. Do you remember that? And we made static electricity, and we picked up all sorts of little things. And it reminds us that just like we can't see the static electricity, we don't quite know how it works, we can't see God. And but we can see how he works, so just like we can see what gets picked up.
Yeah.
Have you got something for us to put on this week, Mick?
I definitely do.
Ooh, what have you got there?
This clay pot. It's pretty exciting. And this clay pot is going to remind us about the story of Gideon and the clay pots they put over their torches as they were hiding from the Midianites.
That's right.
But it goes more than that. It also reminds us that no matter what happens, God can always do the impossible because he always has a plan. Even when we're confused and unsure about how anything's going to work out, God knows exactly how it's going to work out, and he's always got a plan sorted. So I'm going to put this on the shelf so we never forget that even with the impossible, God can make it possible. Well, we're just about out of time here on the link, but before we go, do you remember our theme verse from last week, Cal?
Ooh, we only said it 1 week, so I don't really quite remember it just yet.
Oh, do you guys remember it? Maybe not. Let's say it together. It'll be on the screen, so let's go.
Psalm 91, verse 2. This I declare about the Lord. He alone is my refuge, my place of safety. He is my God, and I trust him. What a great verse that is. And it tells us about, it talks about trusting in God. And that's what we've learned about today. Remember the story of Gideon. He had to trust God because things seemed impossible. The paper chain that we made, it seemed impossible.
It sure
but
did.
God has a plan, just like we had a plan for how to cut that. Remember, if things are seeming impossible this week for you, remember you can trust God.
If you'd like to get in touch with us, don't forget to send us an email that will be on the screen below. And also, don't forget to take out this week's take-home sheet from our website, collegechurch.info, under the kids tab. There's heaps of cool ideas on there and some questions you can ask your family, so get on that. And as for now, it is time for us to go. So until next time, have a great week, and we'll see you later, Linkers.
See ya. Bye-bye.